particularly as India as a country is doing so very well at the moment. We're often hearing about India's rate of growth, 8% to 9%, but it's important to remember that there really are two Indias. There's an India that's doing extremely well, and there's an India that's doing not so well. And WSP, the Water and Sanitation Program, we're really trying to help the people who are not doing so well. No, it's remarkable that in a country like India that is achieving so much, that still about 1,000 children every day are dying because of lack of access to clean water and due to poor sanitation. No, the Water and Sanitation Program recently conducted a study where we showed that poor sanitation is costing India about 6.4% of GDP every year. And while a great deal has been done, and for example in the areas of water coverage, for example, India has something like 88% access to water, but the quality of water is still a major challenge. We estimate that maybe up to half the water is subject to some type of contamination, maybe 11% subject to mineral contamination, but and the rest are subject to bacteriological contamination. So there are still major issues there. And when we look at issues such as sanitation, India is lagging very badly. That if you look at the world overall, about 1.1 billion people worldwide are still practicing open defecation. 58% of that number, 638 million people in India, are practicing open defecation every day. That's really a shocking figure, and obviously this has very real health consequences. And even in areas, for example, as I say, there's good coverage, but there's not even a city in India that has 24/7 water. So there's still a huge amount that needs to be done. And when we look at issues, for example, the gender dimension is tremendously important. We all know that it's women and children, young girls, who are most asked to bear the brunt of water delivery. And we have very good statistics, for example, that show a very strong correlation between the amount of time that young girls spend fetching water and attendance at school. That we've some figures from Nepal, for example, showed that for every hour that is spent gathering water, there is something like a 30% reduction in girls' school attendance. So this is really important. And when we look at the sanitation aspect of that, the issues relating to dignity for women and safety for women and girls in terms of not having access to safe sanitation inside the home is tremendously important. And add to that the issue in terms of women's empowerment, women's ability to go out to work and so forth. So, as I say, while India overall is doing terribly well, in issues of water and sanitation, India still has a lot more to do. Now, having said that, we have a very, very good counterpart in the government. The government is extremely committed. We work very closely with the Ministry of Rural Development, Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, and with the Ministry of Urban Development. And in both these ministries within government, we see excellent people and very good programs. India has the world's biggest rural drinking program. It's about $4 billion a year. The sanitation program is also the world's biggest. It's about $1 billion a year. So it's wonderful for us at the Water and Sanitation Program to be able to work with counterparts, with clients who are extremely committed and who have excellent access to resources. So what we're doing is really helping them. That we work very closely with government. The programs in which we work are largely government-developed programs, but we give access to information. We try to introduce government to international best practices. We assist them in the development of their strategies. We help them in terms of their process of national consultation. We do workshops all over the country. So we feel that even though obviously the money is largely coming from the government, the Water and Sanitation Program is able to add a great deal in technical assistance and access to best practices. Now, obviously, also in doing this, we also work very closely with our colleagues in bank operations. And at the current time, the Water and Sanitation Program in South Asia, the Water Sanitation Program in India is working with bank colleagues in the preparation of over $2 billion of lending operations directly related to the water and sanitation sector. So in that way also we're able to make a big difference. We have a number of examples where the water and sanitation program is working extremely closely with government. Now one of the other important issues about India is that obviously it's a large country geographically as well as in terms of population, and so we're seeing a huge variation in terms of outcomes, both in terms of sanitation and in access to water across the country. So one of the very important programs that we're doing with government now is helping the government address the issues of water source sustainability across the country. And so we're doing a pilot program which is currently in 10 states, but obviously it's designed to be rolled out across the whole country, where we're working with the government, helping them work with villages and local communities in terms of water security planning. And this is an area where the water and sanitation program is lending only the technical expertise. The money and the investment is coming from the very substantial resources that are available to government. And so we look forward to working with the government to roll that out throughout the entire country. Another example, if I was to switch to the urban sector, the sort of thing that we're doing there. Now, India has, anybody who's visited India recently will see that while the cities are growing very quickly, they're becoming very impressive, very modern new buildings, the standards of sanitation are really not keeping pace with India's status as an emerging global power. And so one of the things that we've been working with the government on is how can the government create the interest in improving urban sanitation. And the question we're kind of asking is how can we get cities to act like communities so people really care about improving the standards of sanitation in their cities. And so one of the things we've been doing together with the Ministry of Urban Development is that last year we carried out a rating of 423 Class 1 cities. Those are the cities in India above a population of 100,000. And we did a ranking, and we divided those cities into 4 categories: good, acceptable, bad, and very bad. And of the 423 cities, none came in the top category, 4 scraped in to the second category, and the other 419 were crowded into the bad and very bad category. And that obviously raised people's awareness to the issue of sanitation. But we wanted to go further than that. It's not just enough for us to increase people's awareness of the problems that are there, but also we want to help people address these problems. And so what we've done now this year is we've worked with the government in terms of developing city sanitation plans, how the government can help cities improve their standards of sanitation. And so at the Water and Sanitation Program, we did a pilot sanitation plan in Hoshangabad in Madhya Pradesh, and now that's being taken up by other development partners and by the government and is being rolled out across the country. And we expect something like 200 cities will be carrying out these city sanitation plans. And we're also hoping that these city sanitation plans are going to act as the template for investment. So even, for example, World Bank projects such as the new Urban Water and Sanitation Project or the Ganga River Basin Project, these projects will make a lot of use of the city sanitation plans developed with the guidance from the Water and Sanitation Plan to guide important infrastructure investments going forward.